the approval of the minutes with the proposed amended changes?
Council Pro Tim Robinson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Manica,
Yes.
Councilman Ashafi,
Yes, with changes.
Council President Thomas.
Yes. Motion carries. Moving on to the section of the agenda that sets aside time for Mayor McDonald to speak. Madam Mayor, please come forward and address the community.
Honorable Riley, I promise y'all be real brief. Just a few updates. Our summer camp, I want to give a shout out to Sue and her crew over there. They did an outstanding job with the summer camps this year. The children were very entertained and they learned a lot. I got a chance to go to the violin recital at the end. Those kids were doing a great job. They plan on playing again. So if you get a chance and you find out about what date in advance, we'll let you know. The fire truck was delivered and the lettering is done. The truck is in circulation
Awesome.
now. Thank you to the city council for allowing the purchase. The fire department also ordered 200 fire blankets for residents. Fire department will hold their October open house and be passing out those blankets. So stay tuned for the date for that every year. Every year in October, they have a open house for the public. I want to thank the seniors department. I want to make sure that they know that date on the census was awesome. We had a good time. All the seniors came out. It was about 45 seniors that attended. They danced, they laughed, they did a lot of stuff together. And I was grateful to celebrate my birthday with them. There was a question about Rico, putting their company that's putting in the water mains. And the city council approved the company to replace the water mains in the city of Highland Park. The equipment they use is stored at the DPW yard legally. There isn't any kickbacks as stated on Facebook by anyone. Whoever the anonymous person that's posted that, please know, Rico was approved by the city council, and it was a question about the difference between Rico and Ajax. Ajax was not approved by the council. When they came here, they just showed up. That's all I have.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you for clearing that up, and it was not anonymous. My name is attached to that post.
Okay, so we're going to move on to citizens' participation. I'll set the clock for 2 minutes. And this is for agenda items. For those of you who have an agenda, please be made aware that we have 1, 2, 3 items. The veto the verbal resolution to extend the moratorium indefinitely. We're going to open the bids for stormwater. And under community development, there's a first reading of an ordinance to amend the Highland Park City Code section 1448 to establish policies and procedures to regulate non-owner occupied dwellings, AKA rental properties in the city of Highland Park. If we have citizens who want to speak on agenda items, I will entertain you now. Otherwise, we'll move straight into our agenda. Seeing no one come forward, we're going to move on to item 5. That's the veto the verbal resolution to extend the moratorium on the rental ordinance indefinitely. I have a copy of the veto in front of me. If you didn't see it online, I will go through the painstaking process of reading that to you so that you can be aware of what was actually written. This is from our clerk, Ms. Brenda Green. This is a veto, a verbal resolution to extend the moratorium on rental ordinance indefinitely. Dear Clerk Green, this is from the mayor. At the meeting on August 18th, 2025, council passed a verbal resolution during the council comment portion. That should be council affairs of the agenda to extend the moratorium on the rental ordinance indefinitely per the proposed meeting minutes. This proposed action did not appear on the meeting agenda, and there was no motion brought forth by council to either place that item on the agenda or to suspend the rules and add it after the agenda was approved. The council is hereby on notice that pursuant to the authority vested in the mayor under the charter, section 6.3, veto of council action, I am vetoing this council action for the following reasons. 1, the city council's office was not provided with a the city attorney's office was not provided with the written copy of this verbal resolution, so they were unable to review and approve as to the form. As to the obligation to review the written instruments which are submitted by the city council in matters of legal nature relating to the affairs of the city under Charter Section 7.7-56 and the enactment of a moratorium on the city's rental property ordinance passed by council on May 19th, 2025 was for approximately 90 days per the approved minutes. The October 18th, 2025 verbal resolution is unclear as to what it is meant by indefinitely extending the moratorium. This phrasing would rescind enforcement of the city's rental ordinance for a time period of up to forever, which jeopardizes the health, safety, and welfare of the citizens of Highland Park. The veto hereby suspends the operation of the above referenced council action, which shall have no legal effect unless the city council shall, at the next regular meeting, veto the adoption. A veto to adopt the council action by affirmative vote of 4 of its members. Respectfully, Mayor Linda McDonald, City Council. Moving on to item 5, what's your pleasure on the mayoral veto?
Council President,
Yes, sir.
okay, so
I'm entertaining a motion or not, a motion to approve, and then we can discuss it.
I'll wait for y'all to do that.
Okay.
Yeah, I just want to comment on it.
So this item is on the floor. Until we get it on the floor, there is no comment.
That's what you-
I will let this run for a full minute, and then we'll move on.
Ready? I move to approve the veto of verbal resolution extend moratorium on rental ordinance indefinitely.
Does she have support?
Support with questions.
Okay, so the motion is on the floor. The item is on the floor. The motion was made by Councilwoman Manica, was supported by Councilman Ashafi. Mr. Ashafi, please.
Okay, so for the record, the mayor stated that we made a verbal resolution. It was not a verbal resolution, it was a motion. And the indefinite was clearly made clear when everybody was sitting here, when I clearly said that we're going to put a moratorium on the rental ordinance indefinitely until we fix the ordinance. So it's not forever, okay? That was clearly a lie, okay? And furthermore, the mayor does not have the authority nor the power, as the charter clearly states. She has the authority and the power to veto resolutions and ordinances. She does not have the authority to veto a verbal motion made by this council. And that's a clear-cut charter violation. Y'all may entertain it however you see fit to entertain it, but she does not have the authority. And I want it on the record that she does not have the authority to veto a verbal motion. It must be in a written form, either in an ordinance or a resolution. We made a verbal motion to try to protect the homeowners from you tearing them a new ass with this ordinance, in which you say is so wonderful. Have you told them the fees and the penalties that the homeowners are going to have to pay if you can't bring your property up to code, how they say it's supposed to be? I believe the standard was Section 8. Most of us don't have that kind of money, but they're going to run through you homeowners like poop through a goose if this ordinance gets approved. That's why we put a moratorium on it, because it needs to be fixed. And I yield back.
Okay, thank you very much. A point of order here. So the rental ordinance that we're installing in the city of Highland Park is not different than the one that they have in the city of Detroit. 143 square miles of property that is owned. And this ordinance is on the book in the city of Detroit. So we crafted our ordinance based on the ordinances of the area. And the ordinance that we have in the city of Highland Park is not as stringent as the ordinance in the city of Detroit. Anybody who has lived in the city of Detroit and owned property in the city of Detroit, if you got rental property in the city of Detroit, you will find this ordinance far less stringent than that of the city of Highland Park. Far less stringent than Harper Woods, far less stringent than Ferndale and Royal Oak and Huntington Woods and West Bloomfield and Pontiac. Our ordinance is not that different. Now, as far as the reference to making a verbal motion, if we had a parliamentarian here, the parliamentarian would clearly state to you to make a motion, to take an action, it has to be followed up with an actual resolution. Council speaks through its resolution. All of our minutes refer to the resolutions that are passed in the chamber. We can come up with any rules that we want to. The kids are changing the rules to the way that they play spades and Uno. It doesn't change the way that the game is actually played. That is not a true statement. You can't make a verbal motion. It doesn't happen in Congress. It doesn't happen in the Senate. It doesn't happen in Hamtramck City Council. It doesn't happen in Detroit City Council. It's just not they were. I don't recall that, sir.
You have
Okay.
done it yourself.
I have not.
We can call for the vote.
Let's call for the vote. Okay, so Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll on item 5? That is the veto of the verbal resolution to extend the moratorium on the rental ordinance indefinitely. Would you please?
Council Pro Tem Robinson,
Do what now?
I'm sorry,
No to the veto.
Councilwoman Manica,
Yes.
Councilman Ashafi. That was what kind of
So let's make sure that we know we're answering. This is to overturn
time?
After you, Ms. Green.
this, the item that's on the floor is this is a motion. You made the motion to overturn it. This is to overturn it.
She made a motion
To
to
accept-
approve the veto.
I'm sorry. You made a motion to accept the veto. You're accepting the veto. Thank you. And Madam Pro Tem, your vote was no to accepting the veto.
No.
And your vote, Mr. Ashafi, was?
Hell no.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes to accept the veto. So we need 4 votes to overturn it. So the veto stands. Thank you so much. So moving on to item 6, that is the bid opening for the 2023 Stormwater Management Improvement Program. I need to get a motion to open the bidding.
Or what?
I'm sorry. Are we on to the next?
We're on to item 6. The chair will entertain a motion to open the bids.
I move to approve.
To open.
I move to approve to open the bids for the 2023 Stormwater Management Improvement Program.
Thank you so much. Support. Chair offers support. Take the roll, please, on opening the bids.
Council Pro Tem Robinson. Yes. Councilwoman Manica,
Yes.
Councilman Ashafi,
Yes.
Council President Thomas.
Yes, motion carries. Moving on to opening the bids. Madam Clerk, how many bids do we have?
3 bids were received. The first bid is from Major Contracting Group, Inc., located at 12222 Greenfield Road, Detroit, Michigan.
I'm gonna try to get this on the screen so that people can see what we're bidding on. No, this is for.
The screen actually is able to be seen.
Instruction.
Before I upload this, are people from the engineering department? I just want to verify, this is for that bid that we're talking about, okay? Okay, I'll get it up on the screen in a second.
I'm searching for the bid tally sheet.
Oh, that's just giving me time to get it up there so
You
the
know that,
citizens at
don't
home can see it.
You know that motion failed, right?
Do I need to start video?
I do. I got 200 days.
Madam Clerk, did you read the price they're offering from the first bid?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Did you read the first offer?
I'm trying to find the date.
Oh.
They were told to put it on the front page and they did not. Okay. Again, this is from, I think it was Major Contracting Group. There's two projects. The first bid amount for project one is $304,967.40. Again, for project one, $304,967.40. For this project two, same company, Major Contracting Group. The bid amount is $722,373.40. Again, the bid price is $722,373.40 for the total project price of $1,027,340.80. Again, total project price, $1,027,340.80. The next bid is from England Civil, ANGLIN Civil, CIVIL, located at 13000 Newburgh Road in Livonia, Michigan. Project one, total amount, $246,026.64. Again, for project one, $246,026.64. For project two, $606,949.48. Again, $600,949.48. Total project price is $852,976.12. Again, total price is $852,976.12. And the last bid is from LGC Global. LGC Global Project One, $355,919. $355,919. For project two, $1,596,216. Again, for project two, $1,596,216. Total bid for both projects, $1,952,135. Again, $1,952,135. Those are all the bids.
Okay, I would have liked to pull this area up so that the people in the audience could see the area that we're talking about. The file is super large. It has not come through yet. So we don't have that. Those are all of the bids. I would like to, as often as I possibly can, put an image with the actual bids that we're talking about. We have lost the connection. Mr. Lackey is trying to work on it right now. So the only image that we have in chambers is that camera that's pointed at my ugly mug. So to the people in the audience, we're still having transmission, but we haven't been able to log back in as a panelist. At some point later in the meeting, once that file downloads, I will be able to show the citizens where this particular target area is. Wait a minute, you know what? I can still do that if I use Google Maps. Give me just a second. I think it's relevant to make sure that people can actually see what we're talking about. Okay, gotcha. It's going to be a rough estimation, but I still want to be able to make this available for the citizens to see. You can share your screen, no problem. Okay, cool. Hopefully you can see my screen okay. Just 1 second as it loads up. Okay. So the target area that was provided to the members of City Council is this area that's on the screen. It is from 3rd Avenue up Pitkin on this side, all the way down. That is project 1. And project 2 is the internal parking lot here. And the images don't do it justice as they improve the condition of the lot. They also put in a bioretention basin and they provide extended parking. If you were be reminded that the Joe Louis Greenway is going to come through this area. So we want to make sure that the parking is not only beneficial to citizens, but to people who would also come to the community and visit. I'm going to stop sharing. What we need to do right now is entertain a motion to close the bids, but if it's possible, I would like to share the actual image with this. Okay, so I'm sorry. Thank you so much for correcting me. See, that's why I needed the product. Yeah. So now we will entertain a motion to refer the bids to the city right now. The chair would, at your pleasure, City Council, to refer these bids.
A couple of questions, Council President.
So we have the bids open. Okay, Mr. Oshafi has questions. Go ahead, Mr. Oshafi.
Isn't LG already working for us?
Oh,
They were awarded a portion of the contract, but that doesn't guarantee them access. So every phase of the contract, they have to come back and submit a bid, and then the city will look at the bids and choose among the best.
And the money that's the monies that's gonna pay for this, is that coming from the city or is that coming from the grant that the rec department got?
This was earmarked for 2023, so this money has already been approved, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, yeah.
It's a grant, okay.
Is it coming from the grant or is it coming from us?
grant.
Okay, all right. I'll yield it back.
Okay, so
moved.
we have a motion from Councilwoman Manica to refer these bids to the city. Do we have support?
Support.
Supported by Councilman Ashafi. Would you please call the roll on referring the bids to the city?
Council President Robinson,
Yes.
Councilwoman Manica,
Yes.
Councilman Ashafi,
Yes.
Council President Thomas.
Yes, motion carries. Moving on to item 7 of the community development. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the first reading of the modified ordinance for rental properties for non-owner occupied dwellings, AKA the rental ordinance. So we had this year 2 workshops on this item. We had 2, one in the spring and one in the summer. And recommendations were made by people on city council. And those recommendations were sent back to the legal department. And they were also sent back to community and economic development. They told us at that time that this ordinance was based on a standard ordinance for our geography. And we provided recommendations, things that people didn't like. They made those recommendations and they were forwarded on to CED and to the legal department. And the legal department spent a good deal of time making comparative analysis on the way that this ordinance was structured and how it would affect the people in the area. And so this document is the first reading after that approval. Mind you, we had 2 workshops and this came to us in a meeting and we pushed it back. We referred it out. So I will read an ordinance to amend the Highland Park City Code, section 1448, to establish policies and procedures to regulate non-owner occupied dwellings located within the city of Highland Park, also referred to in this article as the city, and to provide a means for the city to promote, protect, and safeguard the public health, safety, and welfare of its citizens, and to enable the city to keep accurate records of non-owner occupied dwellings in the city. Whereas the city of Highland Park wishes to amend the local ordinance regulating non-owner occupied dwellings, and whereas the charter for the city of Highland Park provide that council has the authority to enact all ordinances they deem necessary for safety, order, and good government in the city and the general welfare of the inhabitants. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the city of Highland Park ordains that section 1 of the existing ordinance, 1448.01, 1448.02, 1448.03, 1448.04, 1448.99 of the City of Highland Park Code of Ordinances are hereby repealed, and the new section 1448 is hereby adopted to stand in its place. This is our first reading. So our job here is to read this ordinance into the record. That's the job of the first reading. It comes back for a second reading where we vote on it. Now, there are 5 of us on city council. All of us can read. And so I'm going to read as much of this ordinance as I feel like reading. Then I'm going to have one of my other city council members show us that they can read as well. So chapter 1448, the non-owner occupied residential property registration and inspection. Section 1448.01 is the purpose. 1448.02 are the definitions. 1448.03 are registrations that are required. 1448.04, certificate of compliance that is required. 1448.05, the register forms and fees. 1448.06, business registration and license required. 1448.07, designation of responsible agents that are required. 1448.08, transfer of ownership. 1448.09, inspection of dwelling or non-owner occupied unit. 1448.10, posting of certificate of compliance. 1448.11, additional violations. 1448.12, compliance with code of ordinances. 1448.13, court actions for rent and or possessions. 1448.14, affidavit of vacant dwelling or non-resident or non-retail. 1448.15, suspension of certificate of compliance. 1448.16, dangerous conditions, and 1448.17, disclaimer of liability. So the purpose, section 1448.01. The purpose of the subchapter is to ensure that all non-owner occupied dwellings and units within the city maintain a minimum maintenance standard for public health, safety, and welfare. The subchapter will set safeguard controls for 1 and 2 family dwelling units, multiple family dwelling units, and apartment units, boarding and rooming houses, group homes, hotels, motels, and flats. Section 1.448.02, definitions. For the purpose of this ordinance, certain terms or words used herein shall be interpreted as the following. The term not herein defined shall have the meaning customarily assigned to them. Bed and breakfast, a dwelling or non-owner occupied unit operating as a business that offers overnight accommodations that are neither a hotel nor a motel. Certificate of compliance, or certificate issued by the city which certifies compliance with the codes and the ordinances of non-owner occupied dwellings and units in the city. Code official, the official who is charged with the administration and enforcement of any duly authorized agent. A duly authorized agent is an individually legally empowered to act on behalf of the code official. A dwelling or non-owner occupied unit. Any non-owner occupied structure or part of a structure in the case of a multifamily structure containing 1 or more rooms, including a kitchen, and designated as a unit for occupancy by 1 family for the purpose of cooking, living, and sleeping, which is used as a home or residence by a personal household unit, or any grounds or other facilities or an area promised for the use of a residential tenant, whether for any form of compensation or not, including without limitation, apartment units and 1 and 2 family dwellings, a unit that is rented or leased with an option to purchase is considered a rental agreement unless the lessees fully exercise their option to purchase as evident by a recorded deed or land contract. A furnace report, a report provided by the certified contractor of the inspection of any furnace, gas, electric, or oil fire heating unit and or climate control unit for the heating purpose in a dwelling or non-owner occupied unit. Immediate family member is defined as by the Michigan compiled laws, section 37.2503, section 2, a spouse, parent, child, or sibling of the building owner. A landlord means the owner, lessor, or sublessor of a non-owner occupied unit or the property which is a part of, and in addition means a person authorized to exercise any aspect of the management of the premises, whether for any form of compensation or not, including a person who directly or indirectly acts as a rental agent, receives rent, other than a bona fide purchaser who has no obligation to deliver the receipts to another person. A non-tenant resident, any person not the owner of a residential dwelling or non-occupied unit occupied said dwelling or unit with the benefit of neither a written or oral agreement constituting a lease, a notice of violation, a notice issued to the owner or responsible legal agent stating that there has been a violation of a provision of the subcontract or any other applicable codes, ordinances, rules, or regulations concerning the premises. A non-owner occupied, a dwelling or non-owner occupied unit that is occupied by any person or persons not the owner for a period of at least 12 months or overnight. 12 hours or overnight, which is a lesser duration of time. There's an exception under item A. A dwelling or non-owner occupied unit occupied by an immediate family member or that family member's immediate family, the daughter of the owner and or her spouse or her children. This exemption is not to exceed 3 properties. In the owner's possession within the city. This exemption does not apply to property owned under a corporation name or any name that is not that of a person. This exemption does not apply to property owned under a corporation name or any name that is not a person. B, the exception. An additional non-owner occupied unit which is occupied by the immediate family member in a dwelling occupied by its owner shall be required to be registered, but shall be exempt from the fees of standard rental inspections. Verification of the relationship and occupancy shall be provided upon request. This exemption does not apply to property under a corporation name or any name that is not a person. Section B is where the changes had to be installed. And I'm going to read that exemption again. This was related to people who live in the city whose family live in their property. That exemption, an additional non-owner occupied unit, which is occupied by an immediate family member in a dwelling occupied by its owner, shall be required to be registered, but shall be exempt from the fees and standard rental inspections. That means no fees and no inspections if your daughter or sister or grandson owns this property. So let's get that out there before anybody says you're going to be run through with fees. It says for the people who have their family members here, an additional non-owner occupied unit, which is occupied by an immediate family member in a dwelling occupied by its owner, shall be required to be registered, but shall be exempt from fees and standard rental inspections. You will not have to bring your family's property up to Section 8 codes. But if you're a landlord, you will. Verification of the relationship and occupancy shall be provided upon request. You will have to verify that this is your relative. This exemption does not apply to property under a corporation name or any name that is not that of a person. An owner, any person, agent, firm, or corporation having a legal or equitable interest in the premises. Owner occupied, the actual owner of record, surviving spouse, children, parents, or siblings occupying a dwelling or non-owner occupied unit that is defined by this article. A renewal date, the expiration date of a previous or current certificate for the same owner and the same property. Responsible local agent. The responsible local agent shall be an individual person and shall be either the property owner, a representative of a corporation, a partnership firm, joint venture, trust association, organization, or other entity having a legal or equitable interest in the property, or designated by the owners as responsible for operating the premises in compliance with all the provisions of the city code and ordinances. All official notices and violations may be issued to the responsible local agent, and any notice so issued shall be deemed to have been issued upon the owner of record. A tenant is a person who occupies the property rented from a landlord. Make sure that part was clear. Okay, moving on to section 1448.03. The registration that is required. The owner of any non-owner occupied dwelling or unit shall register with the city and shall designate a person as a responsible local agent who shall be legally responsible for operating the premises in compliance with all the provisions of the city codes and ordinances, and shall also be responsible for providing access to the premises, for making the inspections necessary to ensure compliance with the terms of all applicable codes and ordinances adopted by the city. Each responsible local agent shall maintain a current list of the number of occupants of each non-owner occupied unit for which they are responsible. Registration is still applicable for units occupied by owners and or immediate family members of the owners, although no inspections are required, except under possible circumstances as may be addressed in sections 1448.11, 1448.15, or 1448. I'm gonna fast forward so that you can know what those sections are as I read it. That is additional violations. There will be any violations that will be subject to code enforcement. That would be one five. Section 1.5 is affidavit of vacant dwellings in non-rental. And section 1.6, that is dangerous conditions. So you will have to have an affidavit showing that it is a vacant property. You will be subject to dangerous conditions, code violations. And you will be subject to any additional violations that any other residence or dwelling in the city would be subject to. So moving on to this exemption shall also apply to foster parents and children, which is a good thing. I don't even know if the city of Detroit has that, but we do. And persons under legal guardianship. So if you adopt somebody, that includes your adopted children, or a person who is in your family that you're the guardian ad litem for, and the immediate family member of an owner who lives in the owner's dwelling or non-occupied unit. The owner exemption shall not exceed 3 properties in any owner's possession owned within the city. The properties that exceed this threshold shall be registered and inspected as deemed by this article. So if you own 4 or 5 properties, and there are people in the city of Highland Park who took their money and invested in the city, they didn't just talk about it, they did it. If you got more than 3 properties, you're gonna have to actually come in and get those properties registered. I don't know what the exemption is in the city of Detroit. It shall be the burden of the owner and tenants to establish by preponderance the evidence that the family relationship described herein exists. You're going to have to bring forward some records. A certificate of compliance shall not be issued if the requirements subsequent to registration are not completed as required by this article. Any owner of a non-owner occupied dwelling or unit with a non-tenant in residence, commonly referred to as a squatter, shall have inspections suspended for a period of up to 6 months while legal proceedings are underway to evict said non-tenant. There's a provision to protect the citizens from squatters. The code official may require documentation of legal proceedings as evidence of eviction proceedings. The suspension may be extended at the code official's discretion if you need that additional assistance. Let's get through that. Okay, section 1448.04, certificate of compliance required. A, no person shall rent, lease, or advertise, or offer for rent or lease, or occupy any dwelling or non-owner occupied unit unless there is a valid certificate of compliance issued by the city in the name of the owner or the responsible local agent and issued for each specific dwelling and unit. Certificates are not transferable between landlords, dwellings, or units. Registration of a non-owner occupied dwelling or non-owner occupied unit is an admission of the fact by the applicant that the applicant is conducting a rental dwelling operation as defined by this article. It shall be the duty of the landlords to apply for the non-owner occupier certificate, and the certificate renewals as required by this article obtained by all required inspections, repairs, and approvals prior to the occupancy date or the expiration of the date of any current certificate, whichever occurs first. The occupancy of any dwelling or non-owner occupied unit by a person other than the owner shall be presumed to require a certificate of compliance. Exempt as exempted in the definitions of, except as exempted in the articles of this definition. The presumption may be rebutted by evidence that the occupant has ownership equity in the dwelling as evidenced by a recorded deed. a recorded land contract, or a recorded memorandum of land or land contract. A dwelling that is occupied, rented, or leased with an option to purchase is considered as a non-owner occupied under the terms of this article until the lessee fully exercises the motion to purchase as evident by recorded documentation. A certificate of compliance shall be issued by the city if the applicant meets all of the following requirements. One, a completed registration form is submitted pursuant to the provisions of section 1448.05. Two, all registrations, inspections, and late fees are paid. Three, the inspections have been performed at the premises sought to be certified and all violations disclosed have been corrected. Four, all re-inspections have been approved to confirm the corrections of violations. Five, no certificate of compliance will be issued until all of the following fees and debts of the city have been fully paid. Number one, all previously billed property taxes, all current and past due special assessments, water and sewer bills outstanding, all charges against the property for mowing, cleanup, debris removal, or similar charges that the city had to execute. It says here similar charges by the city. And five, any fees, fines, penalties, or debt of any sort arising from provisions of the property maintenance, including blight violations. The term of the certificate shall be established by resolution of City Council. The non-owner occupied certificate is valid for the established period from the date of the application for a new certificate or the expiration date of the previous certificate for renewal, unless suspended or revoked for the cause by the city. Licensees shall apply for certificate renewal 60 days prior to the expiration date of the current certificate. Sale or otherwise changing ownership of the subject premises result in the immediate termination of the certificate. Failure to obtain a new certificate or failure to pay any inspection fees is a violation of this article. Failure to register a non-owner occupied dwelling or non-owner occupied unit, complete required inspections or re-inspections, provide a furnace report from a licensed mechanical contractor, obtain a certificate of compliance or renew a certificate of compliance prior to the expiration date of failure to pay any fees is a violation of this article and may result in additional fees, penalties up to included a court action. Sections 1448.05, registration and forms. A, applications for registration will be available at City Hall and shall include at least the following information. The name, address, telephone number, driver's license, and or state ID, and date of birth of the applicant. No post office boxes shall be accepted as legal addresses. Two, the names, addresses, and telephone numbers of all owners of the dwelling or units. Three, the name, address, telephone numbers, driver's license, and state ID, and date of birth of the responsible local agent. No post office boxes shall be accepted as legal addresses. Four, the authorization appointing a responsible local agent signed by both the owner and the responsible local agent. Five, the number of units in each building if multiple units exist. B, under the same section, registration and form. A one-time registration fee is required for each property owner or entity per dwelling and shall be paid at the time of registration. No post office boxes will be accepted as the legal address. C, the inspection fee for each unit shall be paid at the time of the registration for a new certificate or renewal of an existing certificate. This inspection fee shall include an initial inspection and one re-inspection as needed. Third, and subsequent inspections that are required shall be charged an additional fee per inspection. If an owner or registered agent fails to provide access for an inspection, or the inspector cannot gain access to any non-owner occupied dwelling or unit, this shall be considered as a lockout and be subject to an additional inspection fee. And D, under the same section, registration fees, inspection fees, late fees, as well as any other charges in connection with non-owner occupied registration and compliance shall be established by resolution of City Council. Section 1448.06, business registrations and license that are required. Any person, agent, firm, or corporation that meets one or more of the following conditions will be considered to be operating a business in the city and will be required to obtain a business license from the city clerk. The business license is in addition to the required certificate of compliance. If you want to be a renter here, you have to have a business license as a renter. That's what that states. Any non-owner occupied dwelling or non-owner occupied unit that is registered in the name of a corporation, incorporation, limited liability company, DBA, or doing business as or other business entity, and evidence by deed, land contract, property transfer affidavit, or other documentation showing legal interest in ownership. Two, any person, agent, firm, or corporation identified by name, corporation, incorporation, limited liability company, or any combination thereof, having ownership in 3 or more non-owner occupied dwelling units. 3, any non-owner occupied dwelling or non-owner occupied unit that operates as a bed and breakfast. Again, this is who is required to get a business license and register. Section B under that, any entity that is required under this subsection to obtain a business license must include with the application a list of all properties owned in the city and provide proof that said properties have been registered with the assessor for the city, the building department, and the community and economic development department. Any entity that is required under the subsection to obtain a business license has properties registered under 2 or more names need only obtain 1 name under which each property is registered and provide proof that said properties have been registered with the assessor of the city, the building department, and the community and economic development department. D, business licenses for non-owner occupied properties are non-transferable. Upon changes in ownership, the new owner, if required by this subsection, must submit application for a new business license. Fees for owners of non-owner occupied dwelling business licenses shall be established by resolution of city council. We have not set any fees. You keep hearing that because there are no fees that are set. So we're not running anybody through the ringer. We haven't even set any fees for what this should be. It's not in the ordinance. There are no fees.
Commentary. Let's just get to it.
Okay, you can go ahead and start reading here, Mr. Oshafi, section 1448.07, designation of responsible agent.
I didn't participate in it. I'm not reading shit.
Thank you so much for your commentary. Thank you so much for what you added. I'll keep going. Section 1448.07, designation of responsible agents required. The owner of any dwelling or non-owner occupied unit as defined by this article shall designate an individual person as the responsible local agent who shall be responsible for operating the dwelling or non-owner occupied unit and who shall provide access for inspection by the code official or duly authorized agent for compliance with the applicable ordinance requirements. The responsible local agent shall reside within a 50-mile radius of the city. The owner may act as a responsible local agent. Moving on to section 1448.08, that's transfer of ownership. A certificate of compliance shall not be transferable as a person or place. Upon transfer of ownership or any dwelling or non-owner occupied unit, the new owner shall apply for a certificate no later than 30 days after the transfer of ownership. It shall be unlawful for the owner of any non-owner occupied dwelling or non-owner occupied unit who has received a notice of violation to transfer, convey, lease, or sell, including by land contract, their ownership and or interest in any way to another unless the owner shall first furnish to the guarantee, lessee, vendee, or transferee a true copy of any notice of violation and shall have furnished to the code official a signed and notarized statement from the grantee, lessee, vendee, or transferee acknowledging the receipt of the notice of violation. Section 1448.09, inspection of the dwelling or non-owner occupied unit. This is the section on inspections. Okay. As it relates to fees, we already approved the fees. I'll make them available in one of my council affairs. So we have the fees. Anybody who has questions about it, citizens at home, if you want to see the fees, I have them available at the next meeting. 1448.09, inspection of a dwelling and non-owner occupied unit. Access of the code official or duly authorized agent. The code official or duly authorized agent shall be granted access by the owner, agent, or occupant of the dwelling or non-owner occupied unit on the date of requested inspection for the purpose of conducting a compliance inspection. If any owner or occupant refuses to provide access to the premises for the compliance inspection or fails to show up for the inspection shall be recorded as a lockout and re-inspection fees assessed. All dwellings and non-owner occupied units shall comply with the minimum standards set forth in the International Property Maintenance Code as adopted by the council at the December 5th, 2016 City Council meeting. Inspection required. All dwellings and non-owner occupied units shall have an inspection to ensure compliance with all requirements under the International Property Maintenance Code as adopted by City Council on December 5th, 2016 City Council meeting. Re-inspection required. Re-inspection shall be required when violations are found to exist during a prior inspection. Before a certificate of compliance is issued, all violations must be corrected and approved. The violation shall be corrected and re-inspection completed within 30 days after the initial inspection or by the renewal date, whichever occurs first, except in dangerous conditions which must be remediated immediately. Section D, Additional inspections. An additional or regular renewal inspections. Inspections may be scheduled on one or more of the following bases. Number one, complaints or violations from the tenant. So now a tenant complaint may initiate an inspection. These are the tenants residing in the dwelling unit, which will be inspected with a reasonable time if they allege sufficient facts that will give reasonable cause to believe that a violation of this ordinance exists. Wherever a code official duly authorized agent has a reasonable cause to believe that there is a violation of this ordinance and other conditions which make the structure or premise unsafe, dangerous, or hazardous. Section 448.10, posting of certificate of compliance. No dwelling or non-owner occupied unit as defined by this article may be occupied unless a copy of the current certificate of compliance is displayed in an 8½ by 11-inch frame securely affixed to the interior wall adjacent to the primary entrance of the door or the dwelling or non-owner occupied unit. A multifamily dwelling or apartment complex shall display the license in the same manner at the primary entrance of each building dwelling unit. Section 1448.11, additional violations. The following are additional violations subject to enforcement. A, no person shall occupy for sleeping purposes, and no owner or responsible local agent shall allow a person to occupy for sleeping purposes a basement without compliant emergency egress or any non-habitable spaces or dwellings or non-owner occupied unit. No person shall harass, stalk, threaten, hinder, assault, bring harm to, or otherwise interfere with the code official or duly authorized agent during the performance of their duties. No person shall knowingly make any false statement or provide any false information on a non-owner occupied certificate registration application or any other information to any employee of the city or any other authorized person in relation to any investigation of a violation of this article. Every dwelling and non-owner occupied unit and the yard connected therewithin shall remain clean and be kept free from any accumulation of dirt, filth, rubbish, or garbage. Each day upon which a violation of this article occurs shall be considered as a separate offense and is subject to additional fines. Section 1448.12, compliance with code ordinance. All non-owner occupied dwellings and non-owner occupied units shall comply with all provisions of this article. The International Property Maintenance Code as adopted by City Council on December 5th, 2016, City Council meeting, and all other applicable ordinance requirements. After inspection, all non-occupied dwellings and non-owner occupied units in compliance with applicable ordinance shall receive a certificate of compliance consistent with the provisions in section 1448.04. Those non-owner occupied dwellings and non-owner occupied units that are not in compliance with applicable ordinance shall be brought into compliance within 30 days of the date of the notice of the violations, or by the rental date, whichever occurs first, and a subsequent inspection scheduled to verify compliance. Upon request and the submission of proof of the extenuating circumstances, the code official may grant an extension to make the non-emergency repairs necessary to bring the property into compliance. Section 1448.13. This is court actions for rent and or possession. When information is requested from the court or any action for rent or possession filed on an unregistered or uncertified property, the court shall be notified of any violation of this article. When so instructed by the court, the owner or responsible agent shall register the property as a non-owner occupied dwelling or a non-owner occupied unit. If previously unregistered or registered but not certified, the owner or responsible agent shall pay for and schedule inspections no later than 10 days after the completion of the proceedings by the court, with the exception of one of the following. An affidavit of non-rental is filed by the owner. The owner provides proof of primary residence within 10 days of the date of notification from the court, or the owner provides proof that court action for possession has not been completed after 30 days, at which time an extension shall be granted for an additional 30 days. Section 1448.14, the affidavit of vacant dwellings or non-rentals. Any dwelling or dwelling unit that is to remain unoccupied shall register the property as vacant with the city and comply with all inspections in compliance with the vacant property ordinance and the International Property Code as adopted by the City Council in order to obtain a certificate of compliance. Any dwelling or non-owner occupied unit that is to remain unoccupied is subject to vacant property registration fees. At such time, the vacant dwelling or non-owner occupied unit is to be occupied as a non-owner dwelling, it shall be the owner's responsibility to notify the city to remove the affidavit or vacant property registration and to register the property as a non-owner occupied dwelling and or non-owner occupied unit. Any property that has such an affidavit filed that is found to be occupied by any person other than the property owner listed on the affidavit shall be in violation of this article and subject to the penalties herein. Any dwelling or non-owner occupied unit which has had an affidavit filed is subject to inspection by a code official or duly authorized agent to ensure the vacancy of the dwelling or the unit. No schedule is needed for the inspection, which may take place at any time. The owner of any dwelling or non-owner occupied unit that has a valid certificate of compliance and becomes the owner occupied shall file an affidavit for rental with the city within 15 days of the change in occupancy. Section 1448.15, suspension of certificate of compliance. A certificate of compliance issued by the city may be suspended by the code official for any of the following conditions. A condition exists contrary to the public health, safety, and welfare. Unauthorized use or beyond the scope of the certificate that's issued. Any condition forbidden by the provision of this article or any other established city ordinance or regulation. A violation of any criminal law. A verified complaint of violation of this article. Upon suspension, the owner or agent shall be notified in writing of the suspension violation, corrective action, and the time allotted for the violations to be corrected. If the certificate of compliance has been suspended, either by complaint or otherwise, the owner or the agent shall be assessed a reinspection fee and shall be scheduled a reinspection in order to ensure that all violations have been corrected. If a certificate of compliance has been suspended for any reason, the code official shall have the right to permanently revoke the certificate if the owner or responsible local agent has allowed the violation or violations resulting in suspension to remain uncorrected after 30 days have elapsed from the date of the notice, or has not paid the reinspection fee and contacted the building department to schedule a reinspection for a date within 30 days of the notice of suspension to verify that the violation or violations have been corrected. Section 1448, the dangerous conditions. Should the code official, upon inspection, determine that there are conditions which constitute an immediate danger to the health and safety, the code official may order the conditions to be remediated and may limit or prohibit occupancy where appropriate. Section 1448.17, this is the disclaimer of liability. A certificate of compliance is not a warranty or guarantee that there are no defects in the dwelling or the non-owner occupied unit, and the city shall not be held responsible for defects noted in the inspection report. The inspection of the land use, exterior posture, the interior accessories of the structure is limited to visual inspection only. The city does not guarantee or approve by interference any latent structural or mechanical defects thereto or other items that are not apparent by visual inspection. The city shall not assume any liability to any person by reasons of the inspection required by the subchapter or the code adopted herein, or the insurance of a certificate of compliance or certificate of occupancy. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the first reading of the new and amended ordinance. I would definitely offer some commentary by saying, if you look at the ordinance for the city of Detroit, and I said this at the last meeting, you cannot know what's going on in government if you don't pick up and read. It's just not possible. It's just not possible. Me sitting here reading this document is not something that everybody is willing to do in front of you. This is what government is. It is a litigious process. All those books in the back, those are all law books filled with cases and precedent. You can't practice law without having to go through all of those books, which is why they're so expensive. You can't be effective government officials without reading and showing that you can interpret the information. You can't make it up as you go. That was the first reading. 1 second here. Okay. So members of city council, all we have to do today is move that the first reading has been completed, and this item will come back for a second reading. So the chair will entertain a motion that confirms the first reading of the ordinance. That's what we did. We had a All we doing is confirming that we actually did it. So when the minutes show up, it shows that the ordinance was read. It's on the public record. Yeah, put it into the record.
I move to confirm the reading of the first reading of the ordinance number 2025XX, which is an ordinance to amend the Highland Park City Code, section 1448, to establish policies or procedures to regulate non-owner occupied dwellings located within the city of Highland Park.
Chair will offer support. Questions, concerns, dissent before we call the roll. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll on our last item, please?
Council President Robinson,
No.
Councilwoman Manica,
Yes.
Councilman Ashafi,
No.
Council President Thomas.
Yes, this will come back to the next meeting and we'll read it again. I'm sorry. Oh, it didn't pass. We'll read it again. So ladies and gentlemen, this is your government at work. This is the ordinance. Right now we have a moratorium, a 90-day moratorium on enforcement. So we're gonna do this again. So that's what you just saw here.
That veto failed.
You saw us read this into the record and 2 out of 4 of your city council members acted as if it didn't happen. So the next time it comes up, it's gonna come up and one of them are gonna read it, or we're gonna sit here. I got papers. I have papers to grade. So this is your government at work. This is adult activity.
Grow up.
This is the
For
adult
Pete's
activity.
sakes. Jesus Christ.
Please make note of it. Moving on to citizens'
Give
participation.
him a bigger mic because he's too little.
So you know what? Before we even get started, no. If you encourage me to do it, I'll do it.
I encourage you to do it.
Okay.
By all means, do it. Do it.
Not necessary.
Yes, ma'am.
We're all adults.
Do it.
Okay.
Please go to citizen participation.
I encourage you to do
Hello,
it.
how you doing? My name is-
Hold on. I want to make sure I get your time right. Go ahead, man.
Hello, how you doing? My name is Carla Oliver.
Hello.
I want to say a couple of things, and I wish I was here the first time. But this whole ordinance is a cluster of contradictions. One, unlike some of these people in administration and on the city council, let's be fair. You said and kept pushing that it would be exempt, like it's a big deal. It's exempt to family members. I'm looking at all people. It should not be just exempt to family members. That also shows unfairness and prejudice as well. That's number one. Number two, there's already a state law. So what's the purpose of this, other than to get people's money? Number three, we're gonna talk about the whole thing of gentrification, which I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys see in Courtown and Midtown. This is a portion of what's happening right now, including the link about now wanting to turn off people's water after 2 months of service. If you guys didn't see that on the Highland Park website, that's also another thing that's happening. A whole form of people not holding on and upholding their oaths to the residents of this city and also their professions. And I'm speaking now to let y'all know, I'm going to law school. All now, because of what I see here. What I see, how people are conducting themselves and bullying people and residents and trying to displace people. This is wrong. What half of you in city council and all the administration is doing. It's wrong. And this ordinance is a big contradiction. You want to put, first and foremost, you can't tell me who can sleep in my home that I paid for. You can't tell me when I pay 81% of millage versus the homeowner. Why is it you get to come in my home and tell me what I'm gonna do, but you're not putting this on the homeowners as well? That's unfair.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
So let's make this clear.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay.
Against everybody.
Thank you so much. Come on.
I want y'all to know that.
Okay. Do we have anybody else for citizens comment?
Good evening, everyone.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm representative of Price Harbor Township, mayor, council members. I am here because we have got our resolution together. I think I sent it to you. You probably have it in your email. We revised it, and so we're looking forward to solidifying this project for the signature of John R. Understanding that Price Harvest takes up actually most of John R. on the area that we're talking about from Ferris to McNichols. Just in a support, I'm gonna read this for the sake of time. The North Point Block Club Association is also behind us. And so in support, I'm gonna read this. Dear Mayor McDonald and esteemed council members, on behalf of the North Point Block Club Association, we are writing to express our full support to the proposal to subname John R. Street in honor of Bishop Louis C. Evans, designating it as Bishop Louis C. Evans Boulevard. Bishop Evans has been a cornerstone of faith, leadership, and service within Highland Park and the greater community for over 31 years. It's been a long time. His lifelong commitment to families, fostering unity, and promoting positive change has left a lasting impact that deserves to be recognized publicly and permanently while he is yet alive, giving his flowers now. The addition of this honorary name will not only honor Bishop Evans' legacy, but will also serve as an inspiration to future generations who travel this historic street. It will stand as a reminder of the values of faith, service, and perseverance that Bishop Louis C. Evans so faithfully embodied. As community leaders and residents, the North Point Block Club Association, which actually comprises of 4 streets in the North Point area, proudly supports this initiative and urges the council to move forward with this document. Thank you for your time and consideration. We look forward to celebrating this meaningful tribute, because we're going to invite you all out when this takes place soon, very, very soon.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I hate interrupting people. I really do. It's actually going for 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Y'all don't know that. Instead of the 2 minutes, because 2 minutes is just not enough. But I gotta pull you.
That's why I'm in the short.
Yes, ma'am.
version.
Yes, ma'am.
We have the rest
Y'all just don't know. So we ain't been doing 2 minutes for a couple months now. Come on.
All right.
All right. Thank you. Next citizen, please. Feel free to come forward. Good evening, ma'am.
All of this.
Good evening.
My concern is, how do you get bumps on Winona? Is that a consensus of all the residents?
You mean speed bumps? The
Bumps.
speed things? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
It's terrible. The cars are coming from the factory, rushing to get someplace, they're coming from Woodward, rushing to get back. It's dangerous. Of course, the streets are rough and bumpy, a whole lot of lumps. I'm surprised some cars don't go airborne, you know? I have children. So what is the answer? I'm looking for one.
Okay.
Can you state your name, please?
Dean Bryant, 128 Winona.
Yes.
Been there since 1970. How do
That's
we
a
get
good
an
year.
answer?
We'll give you one.
Miss Bryant, I would love to have you come to the building and visit the water department. That's the council president. I would love to have you come and talk to MCA. Because 1970 was the year I was born. So I think that just makes me feel special that you've been here since the day I was born. But I really think that you ought to come. They have done a survey before where they got input from the citizens. That is a issue I can't answer those questions on. That's not my area of expertise. But I think if we hear more from the citizens who have been here for a long time, and you can give us some perspective about the way things have been, as opposed to the way that they are right now, particularly with the factory, a lot of us are concerned about that.
Okay,
So What I would have you do is to come to the city and tell these folks exactly what you told me. Go to that water window. I'm looking up, oh, they gone. All of my engineers are gone.
Water department.
I mean, that's MCA, but I'm sorry, Public Works.
Mayor,
I stand corrected.
Go to the mayor.
Yes, ma'am. Go to the mayor's
Not a
office.
problem.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. I look forward to seeing you again. Next citizen, please.
Good evening, City Council.
good evening.
Citizens of this great city, Robert Douglas Lodge Jr. I am piggybacking on Mrs. comment pertaining to speed bumps. We are in need of speed bumps, and so the answer is to address that issue with the mayor. Is that correct? Okay, and so also, I want to find out the street signal on the corner of Davidson and John R. has been out for several weeks now. And there's been several different incidents. And so I'm hoping that that could be corrected. What department will be the correct department to contact for that?
That's my county, but it would be called.
Okay, thank you. And also, if possible, we are in need of a dead end sign on the corner of John R. I'm forgetting, Brush and Grand. There's a dead end sign on John R. and Grand, but there's not one on Brush and Grand. And what we're witnessing is vehicles driving straight through Grand, jumping the curb, and going over the curb to get to Oakland Avenue. And so that's happening quite frequently. There's been one neighbor whose home has been struck by several vehicles. And so we're asking for some help in that arena also. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any additional citizens with comments? Go right ahead, sir.
How you doing? My name, hello.
We can hear you.
All right, my name is Eno Littles. I'm at Barris. I have a question in regards to this rental thing going on. I received a letter in my mailbox stating that my home needs to be inspected, but it's like owner occupied. I live in the house, so I don't know what avenue or where to go with this situation.
I believe you just have to fill out an affidavit
Okay, and we're at the city.
right here. Don't feel bad. I received one too at my house where I live.
And what part would that be? Just a treasurer or?
If you come to the building department, they'll have you fill the affidavit out.
Thank you very much. That's all.
It's my pleasure, sir. And just as a point of record, the city has thousands of properties, and we have a staff of a handful of people. So we're catching up. We're not on top of things because there's so many documents to go through and so many different properties. So assume that we're going to be slower than a larger city that have more staff. We really don't. Our building department could fit in a minivan. Building department in the city of Detroit, we need a few buses. Okay, so that's the comparative analysis for where we are.
Now, do I have a certain time plan to go down there? Because
As soon as possible would probably be a good idea, just so that you can stop receiving the notices. The notices are coming out, but there's not any enforcement going on right now. They have to send those notices out as a matter of record.
they can't enforce nothing. So if I decide, I'm just saying, I'm busy. If I decide not to go down there, I'm just saying.
So what the people who live here that are actually property owners, only 20% of the residents are property owners. It helps when we go ahead and do it.
Okay. So I'll do it when I.
Yeah, as soon as possible. It gets you off the list because it's just a matter of filling out a form. If you got 30 minutes, come down here, get the form, fill it out, and then you're done.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
You gotta have someone saying the screen is black, that's online.
The screen is black. There've been problems with the Zoom since the meeting started tonight.
Okay, so that's announced, they can hear you there.
They can hear me through the camera that's focused on me. I'm the tech guy and the city council president. I'm doing tech work and I'm doing. You're welcome. I'm going once, twice with attendees online. I don't see any hands. And I know we're having some difficulty. Okay, we're gonna move into council affairs, starting with the councilman from the 3rd district.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so you heard that long, drawn out, dry ass ordinance that was just read. Please pardon my language. But I'm hoping that you paid attention and you comprehend. Did you hear him say that your limit of homes in which you can own in this city is 3?
That's not what
No,
it
that's
said.
not what it
That is
said.
not what it
Exactly what
said.
you just
Does
said.
not say that.
That's not what it said.
Okay, did you hear the part about them saying that corporations would be exempt? I find that funny.
Corporations have to register. That's not
Okay,
in the
I
document.
find that funny because your council president has 8 properties that he's got hidden under his corporations. So I guess that rule won't apply to him. He made sure to write some in for himself.
got some extra property from it.
Okay. You know, so everything's all funny and laughing and joking. Did you notice that they didn't give you no numbers as to what this was going to cost? Now they'll leave that slap for you when you come to find out at City Hall if this ever gets approved, which I seriously doubt. Okay, we were not included in this ordinance. We did not participate in it. I don't know what he's talking about council gave their feedback on this ordinance. That was a bald-faced lie. Because I didn't give no feedback on it. I didn't see no emails on it. I didn't hear about no workshops on it. I didn't hear none of that. But for them to say that I gave feedback and information into it, yeah, that's a lie. No, they went in a little closet in a little corner somewhere with their peanut butter and jelly sandwich and probably wrote this on their own. They definitely didn't include us. Now, a little while ago, we were told clearly that it is this council's job and responsibility to write its own ordinances. I know y'all remember that because we kept going back and forth about it, right? Okay, now all of a sudden, we need the McKenna group to write our ordinances and we can't do it without them. So which one is it? Are they writing the damn ordinances or are we writing it? Somebody explain that one to me, the contradiction. Ms. Oliver is absolutely correct. If you read this ordinance and you pay attention to it, you will be confused by it because everybody I've shared it with, they're like, what the hell are they talking about? Any other ordinance that we put together, anything that's got any fees or anything of that nature should have been listed in that ordinance. But they're going to save those magic numbers for later when you can't do nothing about it after it's been passed. See, they set the tone, but I can tell you what they're doing right now. They're issuing $500 fines to anybody in this city who doesn't comply. Because I've gotten calls from several residents and they've gotten $500 tickets. So each time you violate or make a mistake, that's why we put the moratorium on the rental ordinance in the first place, because they were slapping people with $500 fines. And I don't know about you, but I ain't got $500 every time you think something's wrong. And did you hear something else in that ordinance? They said that when they come and inspect, if your house doesn't meet their standard, what did they say? They can put your ass out and say you can't be there until the house comes up to their standard. Now, I know you heard that one. I know you heard that. Because that caught my ear. As soon as that was said, my antenna stood up. You need to tell me you're going to come into my house, inspect my house, and if you don't like the way it looks, I can't come back in my house until it meets your damn standards. Who the F do you think you are? Who do they think they are? This is HP, baby. You don't tell us what to do. We tell your ass what to do.
You have a young child in the audience.
I apologize for the language, but these are rough times.
Doesn't call for that.
Okay. Understand, we need to pay attention here. Ms. Oliver is right. All of this is a part of whatever little plan or whatever little game they got to gentrify this city. They want you out and they want the new people in. The new people don't want to be here as long as you're here. And we've been fighting this fight a long time, HP. They've been trying for years. They thought they had us when they shut down the water department. They thought they had us when they shut our plant down. But we survived that. And we're growing and we're thriving. There's no reason for them to attempt to try to push us out. Now, they may act like they're not doing it, but that's exactly what it sounds like to me. I mean, what's next? Who gives you the right to come into my home and inspect my home and tell me how I should live in my home? Who are you? Who you think you are? The gall of it, the nerve, ladies and gentlemen, it's amazing to me. And they sit here and act like it's all good. See, the council's president is right about one thing. If you don't read, you really don't know. But that's by design. They keep information from y'all intentionally so you're uneducated. That's why they don't want the council packets online. Every other city puts their council packets online, but they don't want ours online because they know if it's online, you're going to read it. And then you're going to have some interesting questions, and they don't want to answer them damn questions. It's all about ignorance. The less you know, the easier it is to manipulate and control and push you in the direction that they want you to go.
We're coming up on 5 minutes.
I don't care what we're coming up on.
We're coming up on 5 minutes.
I'm on the floor and I'll be done when I'm done.
No, you'll be done in 5 minutes.
And you know, they love to attempt to try to rush me, but they'll run their mouth all damn night. In fact, he runs his mouth throughout this entire meeting. We hear more from him than we do during council packet.
Funny, I'm the chair, huh?
A clown chair, yeah.
Okay.
Anywho, like I said, HP, pay attention, stay woke, don't be gullible. You're not stupid, you're not slow. There's nothing wrong with you. You're very intelligent people. But I need you to come out. I need you to participate. I need you to let them know that what they're trying to do here is unacceptable. Now, we may have had a little fortunate luck tonight, but there may be times and days in which I might not be here. I need you to be here to make sure that they don't go too far. I love you, HP, and I continue to sit here and fight for you as long as I can. I only got a year and about 4 months left. And again, I appreciate the fact that you allow me to serve. Have a good evening, HP.
Thank you. Ms. Manica, would you please?
Good afternoon, everyone, or good evening. Can everyone hear me? I hope so. Listen, the rhetoric is enough. I've seen some of you come up here, some of you that we've already had this conversation. So evidently you didn't believe me. There are departments that you attend, that you go to for the things that you're asking. Earlier you asked about speed bumps. That would be administration. Also the traffic commission. There are commissions and other entities in the city that you have got to start to attend. That's where those things are handled. Some are handled here in city council, but not all of them. Or if you really want them handled, you'll go where you're supposed to. And that's the traffic commission, the planning commission, all those different commissions. If they're not happening, it's because you're not attending. Because I have a meeting and nobody shows up, then there's no meeting. So you have got to show up. The other thing is to just throw your paper away because somebody sends you something. You need to address it at the building department if that's the department that sent it to you.
They should know better.
You need to address it at the building department if that's the department that sent it to you. If property taxes send you something or the treasury sends you something, you're going to go to the treasury department and get the exact information and find out, why did you send me this? Or you're going to find out whether or not you have the right code on your home. That's the first thing you need to find out. So it's we can rally the troops, but if we don't educate you, it doesn't matter. It's just a lot of rhetoric. It's just a lot of hoopla because you still don't know. But I heard the statement about Highland Park. Well, if you know the history of Highland Park, you would know you wasn't here or you were here in small numbers. Well, if you look around Highland Park right now, We could talk about people coming in all you want to, they already here.
Mhm.
But the difference is how are you gonna learn how to be able to stay here? It's about learning and being educated.
Ah,
about
please, sir,
how
don't,
you
sir,
stay.
don't. I don't want to have remove you.
She's calling me out.
No,
Oh,
sir,
I'm
but
not.
listen, that's a private conversation. Please don't interrupt. I didn't let anybody interrupt you. I'm not gonna have it.
This is
And I love having you here. Forgive me, Miss Manica.
That's okay. This is to all residents, and I will say it over and over again. If you don't become educated in the information you need to become educated in, while you worrying about the local level, you got some other big things to fry. Because if you don't understand what's happening down here, you sure won't understand what's happening up there. So either way, you need to continue. And I just keep saying this every single council meeting. Matter of fact, tomorrow, I believe there's a traffic commission
Yes, ma'am.
meeting tomorrow. How many of you gonna attend? You want a stop sign. That we have discussed that. So to answer that question, they have ordered some because I did talk to the traffic commission. They've ordered the signs. There's some things that they're waiting on. So there is some wrong way signs actually coming as well, because we have a lot of wrong way going on Oakland. People making that turn too soon off of the expressway. So it's not that we're not hearing you, but also I think the president mentioned earlier about staffing, also mentioned about it has to get here. We also had to have somebody to put it up. So that also means our DPW got to be able to do it. Now, I don't know if they can or can't, or do we have to hire somebody? There's so many factors in this. I'm not saying that everything's correct, but what I'm saying is, and if you want to get a copy of it, I'm sure you can go downstairs and ask for a copy to read of the first reading. But nobody here, I think, wants to hurt anybody here, because we all either own or rent. But there's some important things in that rental agreement. And I'm gonna give you an example. In New York, and this is what happened, why they put the basement piece in, is because they were renting to people in their basements. And when it flooded, the emergency staff could not get to them, because in those rental properties, they didn't have an egress or this or that. So we don't even have it in ours. And I know for a fact that I'm sure some people are renting in some areas and people's houses that they should not be in. And if we can't get to them, then what? Then what? Let's be smart. Let's think. Let's also go to those events, to the churches that are having the events, that are telling you what to do, how to navigate your property taxes, how to try to make it work within your budget. You know, don't wait to the end and say, I need to pay my property taxes. Let me budget $75. I'm not saying that's what people have, but I'm giving an example. Let me budget $75 every 3 months or every month, however you have to do it. So by the time the property taxes due, you have it. You can do the same thing with your water bill. You can do the same thing by making sure that when they expect, you know what they're expecting for? That you have good piping, good things, so that when that water bill comes, maybe it is not so high. Yes, we have a lot of things going on, but we got to start being realistic. I'm so tired. I really am tired of hearing the same complaint with nobody doing any action behind it. I could get you all excited. I guarantee that. I can get you all excited about something. But where you have to do, besides coming to this meeting, is go to the other meetings and also reading, or either, for that matter, go to another city that you think is beautiful. Let's do that. Go to a city that you think is beautiful, and you want Highland Park from 1963 that was beautiful to look like, and look at what their ordinance are. For real. That's real shit. Oh, I'm sorry. That takes work though. That takes you taking some time and finding out. Do that. You want Highland Park to be beautiful. everybody want Highland Park to look or do what we used to do. Well, guess what? I'm sorry, guys. We're in 2025. It's gonna do some different stuff. Last on that, because some of you looking at me like, no, we can have that. Well, in 19 whatever, they was riding a horse and buggy. So we got an ordinance for horse and buggy.
Mhm.
How many
Still.
of y'all driving a horse and buggy to work? Parking. Our city was not built for parking because we wasn't parking. We were walking underground. We were walking to work. Think about that. So when we build now, yeah, we got to think about parking. But if you look around, when you leave, see how much parking all those places had. They did not, because you walked to them. You took a bus. And depending on what year you was here, you might have rode a horse.
Mhm.
And I didn't mean to be this long this evening because I wanted to be out too. But I've had it
Mhm.
with all of this unnecessariness, unnecessary. And then you rile up people and you got them thinking that it's all okay. It's not. You want to do something, rile them up and educate them. Rile them up and give them that information on how to be here. So that big word gentrification won't happen.
I'm gonna excuse myself right now.
By all means, that's the other thing. Where do you go that city council gets up and leave in the middle of the
In
meeting?
Highland Park,
And it only happens in the park.
that's right.
So when we talk about also charter violations, when we also talk about charter violations, I like to say to the lawyers, etc. I asked
She's right on
previously
5 minutes, Ms. Manica.
for, yes, sir.
She's very
I
right on 5
asked
minutes.
I asked for an explanation to our charter.
So I can only
On
assume
the
y'all was
treasure.
here for the other council members.
That's all I'm asking for. Is
Okay.
I don't care if you
You-
call it a workshop, a special meeting, President,
You
but
over the
we
5.
need some answers from the attorneys. Because this has gone on too long.
I
It's
know.
gone on too long.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, we lost our quorum. Let me be quick. I'm gonna go in less than 2 minutes. Thank you, Ms. Manica. So like somebody said, you're not slow and you're not stupid. Aren't you tired of the theatrics that are taking place here? You're not slow and you're not stupid. The more that they get you riled up, the easier it is to confuse you so that you're not focused on the facts. In order to get insurance on your home, they inspect it. They surely do. I'm going to share my screen because I don't just want to say stuff. I want to make sure that you see it so that you know I'm not making this up. And my mother told me when I was a child, never let somebody with a mouth full of cavities tell you how to take care of your smile. That means so we don't have our quorum at 8:33. I'm gonna adjourn the meeting and I'm gonna say my 2 cents. If y'all want to hear it, you can stay for it. This is the landlord rental requirement in the city of Detroit. This is their landing page. When I go to the actual ordinance, at the top, it's 69 pages. I read 8 pages. 69 pages.
It is online though, right?
Yes. Yep. So when somebody tries to tell you that something doesn't exist someplace else and you can actually click on your neighbor, don't believe the lies. I mean, we're talking about gentrification. So Highland Park was at best in the 60s and 70s, 20% African American. Then it was 30% African American. The people with the money, as they started to move, the city became the majority blue collar working black and brown people. There's not a process that if there's even a word of regentrification, we want all the people with the money to move back because the city has been carried on a burden of working class poor people. They want to scare you with gentrification. I'm glad somebody moved down the street from me and bought a house and remodeled it. I'm glad I see new neighbors on Saturday morning, people who I've never seen before, walking around in my neighborhood. I love it that they want to invest in the city. Okay, so gentrification as relates to Highland Park, that's a lie. 40% of the city can be filled by all of the residents. 60% is vacant. I want the 60% of the city to be filled up again. I'm sorry?
Patience is a good thing.
Well, so I don't typically entertain the audience, but what the gentleman said, gentrification is a good thing. That means people with resources are moving to your town. If we were all coal miners and people from Silicon Valley moved to our town, it would be a good thing. Them $250,000, $300,000 a year salaries, the houses they would build, the money that they would spend, it'd be good for the community. We want people to come back. The question you should be asking is, why are people trying to make you afraid in your own community? Why are they trying to turn you against your future neighbors? That's the question that I would ask. So for those of you who are paying attention, this is your government at work. You had two people claiming to be grown walking out of here. You had people trying to tell me about my property, telling me I have property I don't even know. They need to worry about their stuff. They really do. Because I took my retirement and I invested in the city. How many HP for life people have done that?
Right here.
All right. So that's one. So you know what it feels like. You know that you spent more money than you made. You know you're in the hole. You know what that feels like. So ladies and gentlemen, I do thank you for coming out. I'd like to see you every 2 weeks in this room. This is your government at work. Don't allow people to play with you, to play games with your mind. Have a wonderful night, ladies and gentlemen. I'll see you in 2
Location
weeks.
for the traffic commission, location and time.
It's at the Justice Center.
Justice Center.
Final